Hello YouTube, Dave here again, back with another WWE replica belt video, and today we are talking about one of my all-time favorite championships. Not just championship designs, but one of my all-time favorite championships. Today we are taking a look at the Intercontinental Championship. So this is the yellow-strapped Ultimate Warrior-inspired replica on WWE Shop. There are two versions of the block logo Intercontinental title. You have the black strap one and the yellow strap one. This is also the WrestleMania 6 variant of the Intercontinental title, like I said, with the yellow strap on it. The reason that I wanted to get the yellow strap over the black one is, number one, I like to have a bit more distinction between my replica belts. I like different colored straps. So having the yellow strap for me was a no-brainer because most replica belts come on black straps to begin with. So I wanted something that just stood out. And I'm not a Warrior fan. Like, I've never really been big into the Ultimate Warrior. Although, interestingly enough, I have two championships that are based off of when he held them, with the white strapped Winged Eagle and the yellow strapped Intercontinental title. When I first started getting into wrestling in 1993, the first, the tapes that I was able to rent, or the first VHS wrestling pay-per-view that I ever owned, was SummerSlam 92, and the Intercontinental title match with Bret Hart and the British Bulldog was like front and center for that. It was just an amazing time, and getting into wrestling in the early to mid 90s was really the golden age for the Intercontinental Championship. You'd think about people will say that, the Intercontinental title is like the workhorse championship. It's the one that's put on people that are destined to, become, world champions in the very near future. And truthfully, throughout most of the Intercontinental Championship's existence, that really hasn't been the case. But from the early to mid 90s, like that, and even into the late 90s, that was absolutely the case. That was like the golden age. Outside of the Macho Man Randy Savage, which he won his Intercontinental title in the 80s, but he was the first real Intercontinental title holder to go on to be the world champion in the WWF. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had been like NWA or WCW champion. I think it was WCW at that point. I don't think they were part of the NWA anymore, but he was a world champion with them. But for the most part, it wasn't until you got into the era of Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like those were the people that really elevated this championship. But interspersed, you also had some really solid holders. Like, again, you talk about workhorses. Mr. Perfect was like the Intercontinental champion at the beginning or early into the 1990s. And man, like he again, you talk about some of the all-time greats. Like, he definitely helped build the Intercontinental Championship, and then it moved on to Bret Hart. Bret Hart ended up dropping it to he ended up dropping it to the Mountie, but we're not gonna dwell on that one because that was definitely as transitional as it gets. Roddy Piper was the Intercontinental champion. Bret Hart won it back, lost it to the British Bulldog, who lost it to Shawn Michaels. You had Diesel as the Intercontinental champion, who would go on to be a world champion in that same year. It was just a really fantastic time for the championship. So it was just one of my favorites. And also, the belt it appears on TV, and actually having replicas of both the Intercontinental and the Winged Eagle belt, I will say that the Winged Eagle on TV looks deceptively small. Because actually showing them or having them next to each other, they're pretty close to the same size. And the Winged Eagle might actually be a little bit taller, maybe not quite as wide, but almost. So, but on TV, because of the curve that the Winged Eagle belt had, it always looked smaller. And that was one of my biggest issues with the belt, was that their world title was like the smallest belt that they had in the company. And one of the reasons that I love the Intercontinental title, just as the championship design, was the fact that, at least on television, it looked larger than the world title. I got to see it more, so it felt like a bigger deal to me, honestly, as a 9, 10-year-old kid than the World Championship. But anyway, let's get into actually taking a look at the replica itself. So here we have the snap box. Also, the strap itself is more of a mustard yellow, but the lighting makes it look really pale. There's just not much I can do about it. I've tried like other settings on my light. I've tried just the overhead light, which already looks kind of yellowish to begin with, and it looks a lot more of a mustard yellow in person than it will on the video. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But we also have the stamped snap box here, so it doesn't have one of the sewn-on snap boxes, which was actually kind of rare for a lot of the replicas until just within the last couple of years. So this was one of the few ones that actually didn't have the sewn-on patch. And I think it's just because they wanted to stamp the logo into the snap box. Now, the original championship didn't have this. It didn't have the logo stamped into it or anything. It was just textured tooling all the way through. But because the network logo version has the logo in the snap box, I think they wanted to do the same thing with the classic looking ones. As far as snap sets go, you've got a 2x8 male snap set. You've got a 2x5 female snaps, which is pretty standard for a lot of these belts. You've got the beveling, which looks really good. Again, this is all artificial tooling. It's not real leather work, but it looks pretty good. You got the camouflage shell tooling going all the way around the main plate and the two outer side plates. As far as the side plate designs go, they've got the same look as the network logo version. You've got the two grapplers sort of in like a lockup here with the block logo up above them. Then you've got the takedown with the guy taking down the other by his leg with, again, the block logo there. Some versions of the championship actually had the gap between these sort of two race sections painted in black. And I am contemplating getting the black strapped replica and doing some paint modification to it. Might even do it on video, because I think it might be kind of cool to see the process that you go through for that. But it's something that is off in the future and not any time, not like anytime like soon or in the immediate anything. But it is an idea, so I might do some paint modifications on camera at some point. So I think that'd be kind of neat. The other side just has the same plates, but they are mirrored, and then you've got the logo plate here with the block logo and the Intercontinental banner underneath. And again, I love the block logo design. And when I got the block logo Big Eagle belt, that's when I kind of finally fully realized that I'm not that huge a fan of the scratch logo. I think it was great for the time, but as far as like elegance and class goes, or just symmetry, I think the block logo and the network logo actually, I will begrudgingly say the network logo does look better. But the block logo, especially just the WWE version, is very symmetrical, very, very nice. I absolutely love it. And here we got the female snaps. Mine are starting to tarnish a little bit, and it's weird because none of my other replicas are doing that, and the plates themselves aren't doing it, so I don't know what's going on there. But it's not that big of a deal. I eventually do want to get into leatherworking, and I do want to make my own leather straps at some point, but that's, again, something for the future. And then we just got the standard gold tip on the end, the two-piece one, and the black backing. Now, as far as the center plate goes, this is like my favorite part of the championship, and one of the things that I wish more modern titles would be comfortable with is just having blank space on your belts. Like, not every single square inch or centimeter or millimeter has to have scroll patterns or, like line work, or, they could just be comfortable with something like this, because this championship, this Intercontinental title, is one of the more well-regarded championships out there, like, period. You ask most wrestling fans what they think of the classic Intercontinental title belt, and a lot of them will say that it's one of their favorite designs. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's not afraid to just let the plate just really highlight the few bits of actual accent or detail work that's on it. And when you're looking at a secondary title, I think that's the way that it should be. I think that the secondary title should never be as elaborately designed as your world title. Like, your world title should be the most elaborate design in your company, and that was something that the WWF did really well up until just the last few years or so. I guess 8 or 9 years now, holy crap, with just the big logo belts. But back in the day, the tag team title and the Intercontinental title were very simplistic designs, but they were still really beautiful designs, really well loved and well regarded. But their Winged Eagle world title was their most heavily designed and decorated version of a championship, and it worked. It really, really, really worked. As far as the replica goes, there is a slight curve to the plates here, so I can actually get my fingers underneath up until almost the very back of my hand, or the base of the fingers, whatever you terminology you want to use there. It's not a deep curve by any means, but the real belts didn't actually have that deep of a curve either. At least not the one that was used at the end, because I was watching some video of Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was awarding The Rock the Intercontinental title near the end of 1997. And that championship did not have much of a curve at all. In fact, it was pretty much as curved as this one here was. So not much in terms of that. Just enough, again, that you get the hint of a slight curve to it, but not so much that it sort of like domes like I've seen some replica belts. Just, very understated, but it does its job. And like I said, the latest version of the championship before it was redesigned in 1998, if you look back, it did not have all that deep of a curve on it either. At least not the one for that segment with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Maybe they changed it after that, I don't know. But that version did not have much of a curve to it and doesn't really need it overall, I don't think. As far as the design goes, you've got the block logo up top, the WWE version. Again, I actually prefer the WWE block logo to the WWF block logo because I'm a big fan of symmetry, and the WWE logo is much more symmetrical. You also have the sort of like wing pattern on the sides of the logo, and then you've got the black Intercontinental banner with the gold lettering and the 3 gold stars on either side. You've also got the star cluster pattern here on either side of a beautiful and perfectly proportionate globe. I was looking at doing these videos and getting these replicas really gave me an opportunity to start to figure out what it is that I like in my title designs and what features I really don't like. And for me, my favorite part of any title belt, or one of the main features that I look for, is a really nicely sized globe. It's weird, I think, but it's just something that I find myself drawn to the globes on these belts. One of the things that I don't like about the Winged Eagle is the fact that the globe is so small compared to the rest of the size of the plate that it would have been nice to have seen them maybe make it a little bit bigger. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those revelation things that I never really considered until I started collecting replicas and really looking at their designs in person. And it's like, you know what? I'm a globe guy when it comes to my title belts. But this one, again, very, very nicely proportioned globe. The color of the blue on here as well, again, in real person, like looking at it myself right now, it is a darker blue than what's showing up on camera. So I know some people have said that, like the light blue is inaccurate, and maybe it is, but I see that on camera, especially if you've got like lighting, it just makes it look a lot lighter than it is. It's much more of a darker blue than it appears on camera. Unfortunately, you'll have to take my word for it. But that's something that I do notice looking through the viewfinder and then looking at the actual championship belt. Then you've got the heavyweight wrestling champion banners. And again, I just love these designs. Very simplistic, but again, it's just a very nice, clean design to it. I also love that the word champion is actually laid on top of the heavyweight wrestling banner. It's a detail that I never noticed until I actually started owning these belts. And then you've got the star compasses on either side of the champion banner, and the plate itself kind of has this like rectangular shape to it with the steps sort of fading away as you go. So you've got, it sort of steps down and then steps down again. And it actually helps, again, sort of create the illusion of a deeper curve than the belt really has, because it looks like it's sort of, again, kind of fading away from view as it goes. Just, again, very, very nice design, and one of my all-time favorite championships. Again, some of my favorite matches, some of my favorite memories, all revolve around the Intercontinental title. When I went to my first wrestling show in 1994, it was the Heart Attack Tour in the Halifax. It was the Halifax Forum, And the main event was The Undertaker and Yokozuna in a casket match because this was leading into Survivor Series. But I also got to see Razor Ramon wrestle Double J Jeff Jarrett for the Intercontinental title. When I was there, though, I was told I could get one thing from the souvenir stand. And the thing that I chose, my first ever piece of wrestling memorabilia, was the foam Intercontinental Championship because it was just my favorite title belt at the time. I'll show it off in a video at some point because I still own it. But yeah, so it's just basically from the very beginning, this was one of my favorite titles. It's just, again, a beautiful design, a simple design, an elegant design. And when I was getting into wrestling, it was the golden age of this championship. People, again, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Goldust, a very underrated Intercontinental champion. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Marty Jannetty won this version of the title as well on Monday Night Raw. I'm one of those where were you when type of segments. So yeah, just an awesome belt all around. So let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite version of the Intercontinental title? Do you like this classic design? Do you prefer the oval or the current design? Or hey, were you the kind of person who preferred the Pat Patterson or the, Don the Rock Morocco trophy metal belts? Just let me know what your favorite Intercontinental title design and favorite Intercontinental title memories are in the comments below. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Take care.